If only it were that easy for all of us to be able to find that reset button, that button that helps us to calm down so quickly, so easily every day. Well, not all of us have access to sound bowls, to tools that can help us to do that easily, but all of you can practice yoga every single day, very easily, very conveniently. All you need is a mat, and if you don't have it, sometimes even just by standing or seated, you can do some of these simple movements. So let me share with you some of the beginner-friendly movements that you can do today on a yoga mat, and you can do it every single day too. But before I begin, all right, let me just say this is suitable for everyone, for newcomers to yoga, but do monitor your resistance, all right? So some of us do have injuries to begin with, and certain health conditions. So monitor your resistance by observing your breathing. The moment you find yourself having to hold your breath or shallow breathe, you've gone too far, all right? So one of the goals that we try to achieve here is to lengthen muscles, to stretch them while we are also working on them at the same time. And if you were to strain yourselves or push yourselves too far too soon, that's only going to be counterproductive. Let's come into a cross-leg sit where we're going to do a simple, short breathing practice together. Understand that the poses that we do, the asanas, these are only one component of a yoga practice. There is the breathing, and there are other parts as well, right? There is also the meditation. But I'm only going to be teaching you some breathing and the poses for today. So when you're seated here, if it's uncomfortable for your hips, for your knees, you can always have a cushion, a yoga block, or just sit on a chair to do this, right? Just allow your spine to feel elongated, to feel lifted, and you're not slouching at all. It's a very simple way of breathing here that we're doing. Inhaling is through the nose, but when you exhale, everybody open your mouth and say ha. Let's do that together one more time. Inhale, mouth open, exhale. But for the next 2 rounds, we exhale, ha, mouth closed. Inhale, exhale. One more time. Inhale through nose. Exhale. You have just practiced Ujjayi breathing, also known as ocean breath. I like doing that when my eyes are closed because it helps me to tune out visual distractions and to be able to tune in to how I'm feeling at that present moment, how I'm doing my movements while I'm carrying out that breath. Of course, in certain instances, you cannot close your eyes when you're moving, especially when you're balancing. But where you are safe and comfortable, like you are right now, seated, practice that. It is also one of the ways that you can achieve finding that reset button and finding that calm on a day-to-day basis. Let's come onto all fours. So your palms are below your shoulders and your knees are below your hips. This is a very short practice, but it is effective in helping to wake up the body and to undo the damage of sitting down for too long. Like I said, beginner friendly. Spread all 10 fingers, index fingers are pointing towards the front. And as you inhale, look up towards the ceiling. And exhale, round your back, tuck your chin in towards your chest. And again, inhale, we're going to do this 4 times. Exhale, round your back. So it's like you're doing a crunch here, but you're on all fours. 2 more times here. I'm pressing very strongly into my finger pads also. All right, exhale. Let's do that one last time. Inhale, looking up towards the ceiling. And exhale, round your back, tuck your chin in towards your chest. And we come back onto all fours. Take your right arm up and reach towards the sky. You're in a spine twist. As you exhale, reach across to your left side from behind your left arm, okay? Bend your left elbow, let your right shoulder come close to the ground. We're going to repeat that again 3 more times. Inhale, look up. Exhale, spin across. So this is an easy way to just get the spine to rotate. It's a gentle twist. Exhale. Of course, if you cannot get your shoulder to come rest on the ground lightly, then you just go only as far as your body allows you to, maybe even halfway. And that's fine, right? Come back onto all fours and let's switch it over to the other side. Left arm goes up and exhale, we twist. Left shoulder comes down towards the ground, hit as well if you can, and 2. Exhale, we twist. Reach it across to the right. 2 more times. Inhale. Now, what I want you to also achieve over time with your practice is trying to move, transit from one pose to the next at the speed of your breath, where possible, all right? Of course, if it is a faster paced movement, it's a bit harder, all right? Come onto all fours. But try to focus that for a start, for beginners, all right? Let's have all 10 fingers just turn out slightly. Instead of your hands turning in this way, turn them out slightly, right? Tuck your toes, lift your knees. Let's take one baby step back first before we come into downward facing dog. Now for beginners, I'd like you to get the hold of this, all right? For many of you who just start out, coming into down dog, you might feel inclined to keep your feet flat on the ground, and in doing that, walking your feet too close towards your hands. You don't have to do that. In fact, once you do that, you may take away a better stretch that could be happening along the back of your legs, all right? So ideally, for your downward facing dog, what's the distance between your hands and your feet? Let's try to make it such that when you shift forwards into plank now, you don't have to move your hands or your feet, and your shoulders are above your hands. Let's repeat that again 3 more times, okay? Exhale to down dog. Now for those of you with lower back tension, please go ahead and bend your knees a little bit. You might find that it's way more comfortable for your back, and you are still getting that stretch along the back of your thighs. Inhale, let's do 2 more here, all right? Exhale, shift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Come back to plank once again for the last time. You have to use your legs here a lot too, you know. Exhale, downward facing dog. Very good. Let's take 1 step forwards at a time. Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, all the way till you come to the front of your mat. Let's have our feet hip-width distance apart here. And I'd like you to have your hands under each foot, all right? Even if it's just the fingers, that's good enough. But for beginners, let's just start you off with your knees bent, all right? I'm gonna assume all of you are very tight around the hamstrings. Since this is all for beginners, most of you are starting off with a lot of tension, all right? So keeping your knees bent, this is also a lot kinder for your lower backs, all right? So make sure that you're not feeling uncomfortable around the low back, okay? Now from here, I'd like you to step on your hands and try to stand up. Obviously you cannot because your hands are just stuck there right now. What you're gonna feel is some decompression around your shoulders, your elbows, and your wrists. We tend to do a lot more pushing actions, all right? So what we're doing here is trying to create a bit more space where bone meets bone around the shoulders, elbows, and your wrists. This is called your gorilla. You do look like a gorilla right now. Okay, so if you can, obviously, try to keep your legs straight. Cannot, never mind. For the better part, all right, most of us are going to have our knees bent. This is also a gentle inversion. What I mean is, you're almost upside down, but your upper body. Okay, so this helps you to get more blood flow to your upper extremities, your face, your eyes, your throat, your brain, your head, everything upstairs, right? Now let's release your hands from under each foot. I'm not going to keep you here for too long. And let's take 4 full breaths to come up. Relax your neck. Hands on the elbows, opposite elbows. Inhale, exhale. Let's come up 1/4 of the way and just look at your thighs. Keep your knees bent, okay? Inhale, exhale. Let's come up halfway. Look at your thighs once again. So do not look at the ground. I want to see the back of your neck. Inhale, exhale. Look at your stomach. Chin to the chest. And then release your hands. Inhale, exhale. Let's come up all the way tall. Let's come into simple sun salutations here. And this will help me to work on your whole body, warming up all the major joints and the major muscles, right? And this is really nice to work with at the beginning of the day. It really wakes up everything, and you start your day off with so much energy. Let's come to the front of your mat. Feet together, big toes touch. As you inhale, open across the front side of your body, arms reach up. And as you exhale, bend your knees for beginners, okay? Hands coming down, closer to the ground. So if you can, obviously, straighten the legs out. Now look forwards. Let's try to maintain a flat back, a long spine. As you fold forwards, once again, melt the chest towards your thighs. Right leg goes back. And as you do so, sink your hips down. Look forwards. Feel that openness across your chest. As you exhale, let's all come into that high push-up plank position once again. Lower your knees. Now we're gonna rest the chest and the stomach down towards the ground, right? But lean forwards first. And let's just lower everything down towards the ground and then press forwards and up. And let's just come up halfway in your cobra. You don't have to come up too high for starters, right? But watch the shoulders. I want you to pull the shoulders back and down. Now exhale, tuck your toes, come onto your knees first. We are going easy, okay? Downward facing dog. Yeah, look forwards, right foot steps in, sink your hips down once again. Now if you cannot bring your foot forwards, you just guide it forwards, okay? Close to the front of your mat. Sink your hips. Left foot follows as well, and we are back in our forward fold. Inhale, come up all the way. You may even choose to have your hands pressed down on your knees or thighs to help you do that, especially those with weak backs, okay? Let's repeat that 3 more times. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Halfway lift, look forwards. You look like a number 7 now. Exhale, forward fold. Look at your knees, relax your neck. Right leg step back. Inhale, big step, okay? Sink your hips. Left leg follows. Let's come into that plank position once again. Now lower your knees, lean forwards, bend your elbows, and let's keep them close to our ribs as we rest our stomach, our chest down, and let's come into a cobra. Pull your shoulders back and down, look forwards. Now tuck your toes, press down on your knees, your arms, and lift your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Look forwards, right foot steps in between your hands, guide it forwards if you need to, okay? Sink your hips. Left foot follows, feet to the front, forward fold. Inhale, coming up all the way with a baby back bend. Remember the option, you can always use your hands pressed down on your thighs to help, all right? 2 more times. And out. This is great for your cardiovascular system as well. What I mean is your heart, your blood flow. Exhale, forward fold. Right leg steps back, inhale. Left leg steps back, exhale. Inhale, lower your knees. Lean forwards, bend your elbows. Rest your stomach, chest down. Inhale, press forwards up. Pull the shoulders back and down. Open chest, okay? Tuck your toes, lift your hips. Up and back. Let your breath guide the movement. Right leg forwards, land it soft between the hands. Guide it if you need to. Left foot follows, feet to the front. Forward fold, hands on the thighs if you have to. Inhale, let's come up all the way. Hands to heart center, and let's do this one more time. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold again, exhale. Right leg step back, inhale. Left leg follows, exhale. Let's lower your knees, lean forwards, rest your torso down towards the ground. Press forwards and up, and then exhale, tuck your toes. So you may not go very big in the movements just yet, all right? We are just starting out, okay? Look forwards, right foot steps in between your hands. Left foot follows, feet to the front, forward fold. Rest your hands on your thighs if you have to, beginners. Inhale, bring your arms up all the way. And exhale, hands to heart center. I'm going to face you for this one, but you can stay where you are. I'd like you to have your feet come together and your big toes are touching. Center your ears over shoulders, over hips, over heels. Now, for some of us, that's impossible because your posture has shifted so much due to your lifestyles, okay, that it's almost impossible for you to do that right now. But this will be the optimum position that we're going to try to achieve in time, and that comes with consistency, right? This is where your head is balancing really nicely over your spine. But for most of us, we're far from it. Don't fret. Your body can change, right, for the better over time. Let's just work on it, right? So have your feet come together as much as possible. Avoid sticking your head forwards, okay? It makes it difficult to balance too. It's very heavy, right? Now hands coming together, thumbs together, fingers together. We're going to press evenly to the front of the chest. Now find a focal point first in front of you. It might be something on your desk, it might be something on the wall, but I want it to be somewhere where you don't have to drop your head down, all right? So just about eye level will do. And then we're going to raise our left leg off the ground. Now hold it here. The moment you try to push into the ground with your standing leg, you're going to be switching on so many more muscles around that standing leg, the one that supports you, right? Now I'm still trying to balance my head over my shoulders in that one straight line, right? So try not to lean your body towards the right side where you're standing on, but keep it centered, even though you have just lifted up one leg. Now let's make it harder for those of you who want to work harder. You can always work to straighten that front leg out. If not, keep that knee bent, and that's fine. Now here's the challenging part. I'm going to face you. You're going to close your eyes. If you're falling already, keep your eyes open. You have another option. If you can, I'd like you to look at the tip of your nose. So you have three choices. You either look forwards, you look at the tip of your nose, or you close your eyes. The moment you close your eyes and you take away your dependency on your sight, it's going to be so difficult for you to balance here. Everything starts to work a lot harder on the lower half of your body. Let's stay right there for 2 more deep breaths, okay? 1 more breath. It just changes everything so quickly. And very slowly, lower your foot down, open your eyes. We're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. I want you to spread all 10 toes, open them out, and then go ahead and lift your right leg off the ground. Fingertips, thumb tips touching once again, and you're going to try not to tilt that hip, all right? So I'm still staying centered. I did not seesaw my body over to the left just to raise my right leg up. I'm going to stay in the center. I'm going to push really strongly onto that standing foot. I'm going to relax my shoulders, and then you have those 3 choices once again. Either gazing eye level to something in front of you, or you may choose to gaze to the tip of your nose, or close your eyes. The moment you close your eyes, you become so sensitive to all the little muscles that you're working on. You become so sensitive to the way that you're breathing as well, which is great, because most of the time we don't think about it, right? So notice how you're breathing. If you're able to turn your attention inwards, this comes with practice, okay? So as you inhale through the nose, make it a relaxed one. And as you exhale through the mouth with the ha and your mouth is closed, do not force, right? Let's do that just 1 more time here. Inhale through nose, exhale, ha, mouth closed. And very slowly, lower your foot down. Nice. Simple, and we are also working on a lot of muscles that help us to balance at the same time, right? So let's go ahead and have your right foot stay in front for the next pose. We're going into Warrior 1. Left foot steps back. Plant that foot down. Now, if you need to take a shorter stance, all right, a smaller stance between your feet, that's a good way to start, right? For those of you who have injuries as well, that's what you're going to do. And if you can, I'm going to separate your feet out for a wider stance. Let's keep the front knee bent over the ankle. And we're going to keep that back leg straight. But watch my foot. I'm going to turn my toes inwards instead of towards you, right? So I'm going to try to get my toes to point more towards somewhat the corner, the left side corner of my mat. I'm going to bend that front knee, and then I'm going to make sure that my fishbowl of a pelvis stays level. So the front and the back rim of the pelvis, I'm not going to tilt it this way, right? So if my pelvis was a fishbowl filled to the brim, I'm not going to spill a drop, all right? And that requires me to engage my deep breathing muscles here a lot. Remember that Ujjayi breathing we did at the beginning? I need you to apply it here especially. And if you're okay with around the shoulders, go ahead and extend your arms up towards the ceiling. Lower your hips. Make an effort to push strongly into both legs so that your left hip comes forwards and your right hip goes back. So it won't be perfect, but try to square your hips towards the front of your mat. Ideally, you're going to aim to stay here for 8 deep breaths, right? Here's your Warrior 1. Of course, we're going for a beginner variation of it. Eventually, you'll be looking up, you have your hands coming together to clasp. So understand that we all have to start from somewhere, okay? And this is a great starting point for beginners. Let's place both hands on the hips now. Step forwards to the front of your mat. Feet come together, and you're going to take a short rest for the legs. All right, so you should have felt the lower leg muscles on the back stretching out for whichever leg was behind. Right, thigh muscles were working for that front leg. Let's do the same thing on the other side now. Feet are together, and let's step your right leg back. Extend it back. Wider stance, harder. Shorter stance, easier. Front knee stays bent, back leg stays straight. We're going to spread the toes open for that front foot. Very often, we tend to clench our toes together when we feel like we're going to lose our balance or when we're struggling. If you're struggling, just make the movement a little easier. Shorten your stance, and that's okay. All right, now when you're ready, if you can, arms extend up. Lower the hips. So know when you are pushing yourself beyond your capability for that day. This is about listening to your body and knowing what's best for it. No doubt, we always try to achieve to, form certain shapes that we think should be correct, but sometimes it may not be right for us, right? So just do it to the point where you know that you're gaining benefits out of the pose, out of the option of the pose that you're doing that day, versus just trying to form a shape, okay? Hold it there for just 2 more breaths. 1 more breath in through nose, exhale, mouth closed, and then hands coming down onto the hips, and let's step forwards. So that is your warrior 1. Shake the legs out, and I'm gonna have you come into the next warrior pose, standing pose. Warrior 2. Let's have our feet out wide here. And then if you can, heel toe your feet out, 1 more step out. The wider it is, the more challenging it is. All right, so we're gonna have your right toes turn towards the front of your mat, or just have your right toes point towards the right side. Turn the left toes in like what we did earlier. Now I want you to bend that right knee. Whichever toes are pointing towards the end of your mat, you're gonna bend that knee. That fishbowl is still there. I'm still trying to balance ears over shoulders, over hips. I'm still breathing in a way that helps me to engage my deep core muscles. I'm gonna extend my arms out this time, lower the hips. Now, if this strains your shoulders, of course, just keep your hands on your hips, and that's fine. Now, I'm gonna add a rotation around the neck. So turning from the neck, I'm gonna look towards my right fingertips. Observe your front knee and make sure that it's not collapsing towards the inner thigh direction. That tends to happen. All right, so use the muscles around your thighs, especially your outer thigh for that front leg, to just guide your knee a bit closer towards the back, all right, towards the outer thigh side. And let's hold it here for 2 more deep breaths, okay? 1 more breath. All right, press to come up. If you need to rest your arms, you know what to do. Place your hands on your waist. If you can, keep them up. We're gonna turn your feet towards your left side this time. Now go ahead and bend that knee. Left knee bends, right leg stays straight. Don't forget to turn the right toes in. Belly wall firm. Inner core engaged, so breathe using Ujjayi breathing, that ocean breath. Observe that front knee once again. Observe your toes. There's so many things to think about. So practice is really not as simple as it is. And if your mind was drifting to somewhere else, the quality of your practice goes downhill even faster, right? Gaze towards your left fingertips. Take 2 more deep breaths here. 1 more deep breath here. And then let's slowly come up. Hands on the hips. Turn your toes in. Turn your heels, toes, heels, toes, heels, toes in. Let's take a seat. Coming down onto your mat. I didn't get to do very much twisting except at the beginning when we were threading the needle, when we did a little bit of rotation. So let's have your right leg come on top of your left. Now, for most of you who are just starting out exercising or stretching, this will be near impossible, and you would see that the leg is somewhat here instead. If that's where you have to start, that's where you have to start. Okay, so your right leg may be on top of your left calf instead of your left thigh, and that's okay. All right. In fact, if this is impossible for you as well, you know what? Your right leg, you're gonna place it on top of your left thigh here. So you're still seated upright. Let's start from here, okay? For those of you who need to start from here, you're gonna add a twist. I'm supporting myself with my right arm behind. My left arm comes out, and then I push and I look back. You will already feel a stretch at the outside of your hip. Now, for those of you who can stay in a seated position to do this, I'd like you to add on taking your left arm outside your right thigh, seated up tall. Let's add a twist. Looking back towards the wall behind you. Now, be conscious to not scrunch up your shoulders. I am not shrugging my shoulders towards my ears at all. And that tends to happen when we try too hard, all right? So don't be creating more tension. We're trying to ease our body of more tension instead, all right? So here's where you're gonna get your spine twist. It's a gentle massage, stimulation to the soft organs around the belly. And if you were in a sedentary lifestyle, all right, you probably don't twist very much at all. You just sit down on the sofa, upright, at the dining table, upright, at your desk, upright. So now you're going to start to include more rotations, which are so good for your detoxification system, for your digestive system, and for your spine as well. So here's where you help to stimulate the joints to release more synovial fluid. Come back towards the center. At the same time, it's also going to help to stretch certain muscles around the back. We're going to come forwards this time around. So those of you who are still seated in this position, I'd like you to bring your hands to walk towards you one step, in towards you one step. Now, once your hands are closer towards you, bring your chest closer towards your thigh. The stretch to the outside of your hip deepens once you do that. Stay right there. And for the rest of you who have your right leg on top of your left, we walk forwards with the arms, and you start to lower your chest closer towards your thigh as well. Now, hold it right there for another 4 deep breaths. Ideally, on your own, stay there for about 8 to 10 breaths. Slow, deep breaths, right? Don't be rushing. The slower you can breathe, of course, you're not forcing it either. The deeper a breath you're taking, a more relaxed one, the easier it is for you to stretch as well. And that's great not just for your muscles, but for your connective tissue in the body as well. It's great for your joints as well. All right, and let's slowly ease ourselves out of that. Change it over so that you now have that left leg on top. So for those of you who cannot stay seated upright and have left leg over right thigh, take the other option, left foot on top of right thigh while you're seated this way. And then, of course, walk your hands in closer to bring your body more upright before you go for your twist, okay? Now, either way, those of you who have your left leg on top of right here, either way, either option, you're going to take your right arm outside your left thigh, sit up tall, and let's twist. Looking back towards the wall or whatever it is behind you, I want you to make sure that you're not rounding your back at this point. Your spine is not slanted, so as much as you possibly can, sit up tall, right? We're going to hold it here for another 4 deep breaths. Keep the shoulders relaxed. 3, 2, I'm using my arm to push against the outside of that knee, okay? 1 last breath here. And slowly come back towards the center. Now we're going to start to bring our body towards the thigh. So those of you seated upright, walk your hands in 1 step, bring your chest closer towards your thigh. Otherwise, you're going to just fold forwards. For those of you following me, we're going to bring our chest closer towards our top leg, folding forward, stay there for another 3 deep breaths. So as I mentioned earlier, holding it here for 8 to 10 breaths, observe your breathing. You're so stable here, you're so safe in this position that it's okay for you to close your eyes as well, right? So just 1 more deep breath here. And very slowly coming back up. Come into a cross-leg sit. And then just back to where you started at the beginning of your practice. Notice how you are seated at this point. Is it easier now for you to have your knees coming closer towards the ground? Do you feel more at ease and more comfortable seated upright this way? A short practice can make a big difference for us, especially if you do it at the beginning of the day. You feel more energized, you feel like you can sit more upright. And that's a great thing because now you're going to be able to breathe more deeply. And with that, your brain gets more oxygen as well. So of course, your thought processes, your ability to focus is also heightened. I hope you enjoyed today's practice with me. I'm Dawn. Thank you for joining me for today's practice, a yoga practice for beginners. And I hope to see you all again soon with Sports SG. Thank you.